The Indian Army's Agniveer scheme is in the news once again. Two key BJP allies, the JDU and Chirag Paswan of the Lok Janshakti Party, have questioned the Agniveer plan and have asked the government to revisit it. Now, the Agnipath scheme was launched in 2022 to bring down the age profile of all three services and, of course, in the longer term, the pension bill. Soldiers were recruited for 4 years, after which 25% of them were to be retained and others given a financial handshake. The recruits, called Agniveers, were from the age group of 17.5 to 21 years. Now, this scheme had triggered off violent protests with opposition leaders questioning its short-term utility, this short-term recruitment plan. So what is the way ahead and what can the government do or should do? We have 4 big questions. Should the scheme be scrapped? Will it be modified? How to handle surging defense pensions? And can wars be fought using short-term soldiers? Joining me to discuss this are Major General Vinod Bhatia and Lieutenant General Rakesh Sharma, and in the studio my colleague Aditya Raj Kaul. Gentlemen, welcome to the News9 Plus show. I want to start with you, General Bhatia. Should the Agniveer scheme be scrapped, and if so, why?
A very simple and a plain answer, a very pragmatic one is please shelve it.
Right.
I'll give you the reasons why. The Indian Army is the recruitment pattern, the soldiers, the way our structure and organization are there. We are a tried, tested, proven, successful army. Right. We have delivered ever since 1947 and beyond in every operation, including the 1962 so-called debacle. And right. I quote the Time magazine, which said, after covering the 62 war, the Indian Army lacks everything except courage. Right? So we had a tried system, proven system. We had done well in war, 71 war, 65 war. The improbable 99 Kargil war, when we started 25 years now, no one can ever imagine recapturing those heights. We have small served out there. Sharma, the co-commander there, I've served out there in those posts. And we have proven ourselves in counter-terrorist operations everywhere. And we have definite threats. We have defined threats, unsettled borders. And we are transforming, we are carrying out major transformation or trying to carry out major transformations in terms of integrated theatre command, in terms of jointmanship, in terms of Atmanirbharta, in terms of technology, imbibing technology, exploring technology. And with all this, the major strength which we had was our soldiers.
Right.
Let me say that the Indian Armed Forces soldiers, sailors, air warriors cost the minimum and deliver the maximum. So let's put it very bluntly. And that was our strength all along. No, it's very easy to say budget. No one ever spoke of the budget, but yes, you're right. It's the budget which is, the pension bill which is defining it. But we have to understand the difference between the cost of money and the value of money. Right. The cost of money is the cost of money. That is the figures.
Right. Well made points, General Bhatia. I'm just going to bring in General Rakesh Sharma on this. General Sharma, the cost of money versus the value of money, and of course the underlying factor in the Agniveer scheme is the burgeoning pension bill, which the government wants to reduce. Do you agree with the fact that what General Bhatia just mentioned, that this scheme needs to be scrapped or shelved or modified, or should it continue the way it is?
So Sandeep, at this juncture, thank you for inviting me. Let me put it a very difficult question and very difficult to proceed ahead after General Bhatia has given its considered views. The fact is that our armed forces are a matter of employment for people of the country.
Right.
And are we a social engine for the nation? Now, that's Pakistan Army. There's a social engine for the nation.
Right.
The armed forces, the army especially, is not meant as an employment scheme.
Right.
How many people do we take from Bihar totally in a year? Say 3,000 people.
Yes.
What's the total unemployment in Bihar?
Right.
It's about 19% as per CMI data. So the armed forces are not, even if you scrap the Agnipath scheme, it does not politically or socially help out the distress of unemployment in whether Uttar Pradesh or Rajasthan or the matter of Bihar. So then that's a one factor story. It doesn't help at all. The total matter is about 40,000 odd people.
Yes.
Second part is that armed forces are a finite number.
Yes.
You know the borders. You've been covering the armed forces for the last 30 years.
Yes.
Now, we have a finite numbers. We require this quantum of force to defend the northern border, this quantum of force to defend the Pakistan border, and
Yes.
what reserves we have. So we have a finite numbers. That finite numbers cannot be enhanced.
Right.
Because there is, when say the Air Force might say 42 squadrons, but they have 32 and they're managing all right.
Yes. Yes.
Having said that, there is a basis of structural issues of the armed forces. Will, as I, a corps commander, or General Bhatia, as 33 corps commander, will accept any shortfall in manpower or manpower which is poorly trained? No. We will make a noise right to the roof saying that I can't defend my area if you don't give me the correct manpower to do my job. That's the way of it. Now, Agnipath scheme, as it was formulated, there were lacuna, and we all, including General Bhatia, were invited number of times
Yes.
For discussions with the establishment. I mean, I would say establishment, the armed forces, chiefs in attendance, and we did not mince any words. The veterans, about 200-300 of us, and we said that the scheme needs to be tweaked.
Right. Right.
Because of the aspirational nature of a society.
Absolutely. General Sharma, please hold your thoughts. I'm just going to bring in Aditya in on this. And the next point, what you just mentioned, I'm just going to come back to you on that, the tweaks in the scheme. But Aditya, we just saw Prime Minister Modi in the meeting with the NDA today. All the allies, and it's an NDA government now, it's not a BJP majority anymore. What is the kind of pulls and pressures on the government at the moment, given the fact that all the states that General Sharma mentioned, very critical to the BJP, Bihar, Haryana, Rajasthan, all of this. Tell us what the government is going through now, or the nascent NDA government is going through right now.
Sandeep, this will be the first time that Narendra Modi would be heading a coalition government.
Yes.
And coalition dharma really involves taking along all your partners together and to keep them happy.
Yes.
From the bonhomie that you saw inside the the Samvidhan Sadan, old parliament, you could see Nitish Kumar touching his feet, Prime Minister's feet. You could see Chandrababu Naidu cracking a joke with Narendra Modi, and together they are going to the Rashtrapati Bhavan.
Yes.
This may be to show to the world that they are together and there is unity within the NDA.
Yes.
But having said that, the JDU and of course Chirag Paswan's LJP have made this categorically clear that there needs to be a review of the Agnipath scheme, of the Agniveers scheme, because there has been a growing resentment. But I concur with General Bhatia when he says that there has to be a review, there has to be, of course, things need to be put in place. But I completely agree with General Sharma here that Agnipath was a reform that was required. There was an overburdening of finances that was there. The Indian Army, the Indian military is not a job scheme. It is something different from the mainstream here in India. And of course, if there is a review, of course, there are these lacuna in the sense that the percentage is less. The percentage could be increased. There could be more, not just the paramilitary, but other government bodies, PSUs and private sector coming in to recruit the Agniveers after their tenure really ends.
And you give them some kind of job security after they leave the armed force. But here's the point here, Lieutenant General Bhatia, what will the modified Agniveer scheme look like? The government has said that they are open to reviewing it, but about after 5 or 6 years, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh also mentioned this point. Now, it's quite possible they could modify the scheme. There could be some tweaks in it. What do you think would be the likely tweaks that the government could bring into the scheme to keep everyone happy, including their alliance partners, and of course, sections of the ex-servicemen community who expressed their opinion on this numerous occasions?
Sandeep, there are two aspects. One is individual aspirations.
Yes.
At the time of recruitment and beyond.
Yes.
And second, organizational effectiveness.
Right.
Both have to have congruence. Okay. If we have to have congruence between the two, I do not know tweaking. What you can tweak is 25% to 50% selection, 50% 70% selection. But the armed forces, intangibles have to be seen. It is not the tangibles that count. You have to see the intangibles. How does a section, a platoon, a gun detachment, a submarine, a crew function? We carry our colleagues along. If someone is not well today, someone is sick today, someone is not feeling too bright, we carry him along. Okay, we function as a team. We attack as a team. The strength is the weakest link. Tomorrow, when you have Agniveer, whatever percentage they are, 70% is, of course, just not acceptable. But whatever percentage you have, I will still buy. My need is to get into the army as a career.
Yes.
So I will now compete with my own gun detachment, with my own section. What do? I will not help him. I will let him down. So we have to understand the team building. We have to understand the ethos of the army, the very core values of the army. So that we are not understanding. So my point is that you have not tested it. You have not had a pilot project. This is forced on. We, in any case, if you look at our armed forces, you can't have a man with 3.5 to 4 years service trying to repair an aircraft, trying to repair a ship, trying to be part of a section, attacking I just heard you this thing, last mile connectivity.
Yes.
It is the last, not that matter.
Right.
It's about the last 28 yards. You can get there, but not get there still. Someone, they'll mange more. Captain Vikram Batra, Major Vikram Batra.
Yes.
But that is the spirit. That's the spirit of the army and the armed forces we're talking about. Are the Agniveers will be risk averse? Let me also put one more point. Post Galwan, you know what Galwan? It was the immediate retaliation, effective retaliation at the cost of lives by Colonel Santosh Babu, 19 men who laid down their lives. That we have had no escalation whatsoever along the line of actual control. Right? Why was that? Because our soldiers were motivated, they were trained, and they were willing to sacrifice their life for the territorial integrity of the nation. Like General Sharma rightly put it, territorial integrity is very important. As Corps Commander, we should certificate that territorial integrity is ensured. No, that is a certificate everyone has signed on coming to Corps Commander. I would like the resource with it. Now, if I have Agniveers and they're neither soldiers, their status is not known, they're risk averse, and after Galwan, the PLA has gone and raised full body unit permanent cadre. Why did we beat them so badly? Because they were conscripts. They come for a 2-year service. Vietnam, we have not learned our lessons. We should never even try this because it is not only a career, it is a way of life. When a rejected man will go back, whatever part to the village will tell him, "Tum to fail hoke aa gaye, wahan se reject hoke aa gaye." He has lost his self-esteem. Are we looking at individual aspirations? I don't know. I don't know how this is going to work out. But yes, if you have to modify it, please make it worthwhile for organizational effectiveness and meet the individual aspirations. 75-25, and those 25 get into nearly assured jobs, which are to their status and to the worth, and soldier status. Not a security sentry outside a bank or something. That's all they have. Today also, how much of public sector or private sector employs ex-servicemen? The amount of requests which me gets and Jen Sharma gets, Jalsa ban gaye, hamari madad karo, hamare bachche ko madad karo. It is quite disheartening. There are no places. And there are aspirations to join the army. That has to be met.
Right.
We have 5th generation soldiers, 6th generation soldiers. So that sort of a thing will not be there anymore.
General Sharma, how do you see the government, the defense ministry tweaking the scheme? General Bhatia has made some very powerful remarks on, the ethos of the army and the need to meet individual career aspirations. How do you, strike a balance between this and, of course, the larger political questions that Aditya was mentioning on placating your allies, for whom, the soldiers, villages, rural areas from where they come from are very powerful constituencies?
My logic is different. My logic is that we need to discuss the armed forces threadbare. It's not Agnipath scheme. We are riding a small horse, a mule. The fact is that what is the establishment you require to fight in future? Are you correctly entitled and you're holding that establishment? Are you planning and preparing for the right kind of wars? Somebody says the 4th aircraft carrier. Somebody says 42 squadrons of the Air Force. And we say 13, 14 corps and we are raising one more division. So, there is something not right in the whole systemic. Let's resolve the issues of what is required in the armed forces before talking Agniveer. We are talking about mounting one small portion of it of an HR policy without resolving it. Now, from 10 years or even longer, the defense budget has not increased beyond 2% of GDP, of which 0.5% goes towards pensions. That makes it 1.5%. The total amount that the army gets for modernization is not even 30,000 crores. And how do you manage the modernization of against an adversary which is asymmetrically larger. So, why do we talk Agnipath scheme? Because the political hierarchy is enamored about it, saying that it should be removed, and the armed forces are saying we need cohesion. But we say, okay, we will remove the Agnipath scheme, but you will not get any future budget. And tomorrow, lo and behold, they'll say armed forces will get NPS like anybody else. No, even the Seventh Pay Commission was pushing the NPS for the armed forces. The new pension scheme means no pension at all. It was fought in the times of 7th CPC that no, we can't survive. How would you manage the armed forces without pensions? Yeah? Because the whole cohesion, the whole lifetime of a soldier and the family depends on this one. But the fact is, if we say we pursue one end of it and the other end they put the NPS in, that will be again a greatly negative step. So the question is, it is not Agnipath scheme, it is armed forces per se. The total gamut of it has to be examined. And if you have to tweak the Agnipath scheme, remove it, then increase the defense budget to 2.5% of GDP and say we accept the pension budget and we accept the salary budget and we do modernization. We will prepare because we have two adversaries of this kind, and then manage it. So if you can't have two ends meet, you can't have adversaries 4,000 kilometers up north and 1,000 kilometers of line of control, which is actually manned 24/7. So how do you do this here? You can't have two and two together. So if you want to do Agnipath scheme, well, Agnipath scheme has to be managed in a manner. If I require 40,000 people, I will recruit 60,000. Let 20,000 go out and let me retain 40,000. I mean, if you want to say people go out, I will see even today they're saying with 25% of the retention, 25% is being assured in one form or the other. This is what I gathered from the ground, which is from, of course, many of these jobs may not be worth it, but banking sector or the DSC or many other places. If we say we retain 50%, we have 25% assured commitment outside, I think that would suffice it to say that, okay, 75% of the people who join are adjusted. The social and the political requirement will be upheld, but it does not resolve the issues of the armed forces. What is the quantum? We did not allow the 17 core to be fully raised. We stopped it in between. Now we are raising it again because the Chinese have reared the head. That means our whole planning process is required to be rethought about it as to what are we raising and what is the quantum of finite force required and what is the kind of modernization required against an adversary which is asymmetrically much larger. So, we are just taking a narrow issue and blowing it apart without taking the whole thing together.
Narrow issue, and we are, looking at, we are missing the wood for the trees, if I could put it that way, as General Sharma mentioned. General Bhatia, but how do you handle the surging defense pension bill? I mean, there is one estimate which says that India spends double that of Pakistan's defense budget only on military pensions, and this is only set to grow. Is it by increasing the defense budget, or is it by, how do you reduce the pension liability on the government of India?
Let me put in a broader perspective. Let me say, the need is to optimize the defense expenditure and enhance the combat effectiveness. Right? Yes. Defense prepared. Armed forces not meant to fight wars. We were meant to ensure peace. Ensure peace from a position of strength. Okay. If you are weak, you will invite wars. To that, there should be no doubt. So, how to optimize defense expenditure? Organizations. Are you aware that there are 600,000 non-uniformed employees paid out of the defense budget who served till the age of 60? In 27 organizations that lead the Ministry of Defense. Why are you not looking at them? Can we cut them out? Can we outsource those? Can we reduce them? Can we make them more cost effective? We are only looking at pensions because that is the narrative. Please look at pensions. I'm not saying don't look at pensions, but also look at the deliverance. What are we getting out of that's what I said. I started my first intense. The value of money and cost of, the cost of money versus value of money. 600,000 employees paid out of the defense budget. No one looks at them. 27 organizations. There was a Shikhetkar committee. I was part of that Shikhetkar committee. 208 recommendations on how to enhance the defense, optimize the defense expenditure, enhance combat effectiveness. at least, okay, all 28 may not be implementable, but at least implement the major issues where we save some monies. Just looking at defense pensions may not be the right answer. You look at the holistic thing. That's what Jan Sharma is trying to say. Look at the whole thing. Look at your national security. It's a package. You can't have a man coming in and only yesterday I met an old colleague of mine and someone from his village, Agniveer, had expired. He said, "Sir, उसको कुछ नहीं मिला, उसकी family को कुछ नहीं मिला, उसको शहीद का दर्जा नहीं मिला." There's so many cribs. This is going to happen. So no one is happy. That's what I'm saying. Individual aspirations are not being met. Organized needs are not being met. So why are we having this scheme at all? There's a time to review the scheme. And if you can't review it in totality for whatever reasons, please ensure that it is actually made more cost effective for everyone.
Right. Jan Sharma,
please look at everything.
The issue of defense pensions keeps coming up every now and then. The Agnipath scheme was meant to reduce the defense pensions over time, 10 years, 15 years. What is the option?
If you look at the Agnipath scheme when we were briefed, the pensions were not discussed at all. It was said pensions got nothing to do with it.
Right. Do you agree with that, General Sharma? And if so, what do you need to do to reduce defense pensions? Is there any other alternative?
No, I draw pension from the Indian government here. I won't like to discuss options here. The fact of the matter is that the pension is a right worldwide, globally, it's a right to take pension. And when we drew the Agnipath scheme, probably we copied models from countries which have different requirements altogether. They don't fight on their own borders deployed the way we are. So, the models that we selected were not probably the right ones on which the scheme was based on. Now, to answer the question, pensions, see, the pension is a very major issue, and it's an entitlement which, even after the CAPF lost their case, it has yet not been implemented. The NPS for the CAPF has yet not been implemented. So the question is that, it is one of the most important aspects about is pensions. Now, we need to manage it. We need to manage it better. And I don't think it is possible for us to tweak anything of pension. The NPS will be, if you minute to put NPS into it, it will be even more disadvantageous than having the Agnipath scheme, which can be tweaked. And I would say that, what advantage has taken place is that last month or so, the impact assessment has been ordered by the Army from all stakeholders, including the Agnipath people. And, I think, it matters a lot to say that there is an impact assessment. We just take the first 4 years, which finish in 2027 as a pilot project. Now, if the impact assessment comes out by later part of this year, we will implement, we should have positive recommendations to how adjust to the Agnipath scheme in the same format in the course of next 2 years. Finish the pilot project, 2027, the next cycle start, we have a new version of Agnipath scheme been put across. That gives us 2 years to think, or 2.5 years to think out as which is the best model to do so. And the second part is that, we must reevaluate the operational requirement. What is the threat pattern in times to come, which means that do we require the quantum of force that we have, or we require more? Because, we curtailed the intake in the COVID times and subsequently in the Agnipath scheme, while at the same time 2020 happened. Till 2020, and I was commanding the corps, and General Bhatia commanded the corps in even difficult areas in Sikkim. We were managing it better, but suddenly the surge has been so tremendous all along the borders that you know that you cannot manage an adversary without holding it at the end, the tail end of the area, because he will come and occupy it. So there is a cultural shift to the armed forces in the last 4 years. Now, the last 4 years cultural shift, maybe the Agnipath scheme came in at an inopportune time, especially when the Chinese were already knocking at the door. Now, there is pragmatism. You understand that the whole concept of northern defenses along the northern and offensives along the northern, and the kind of asymmetric force that the adversary has changed in 4 years, especially in the Tibet area and the southern Xinjiang region. We need to retweak the whole system. Now, if we are growing at that pace, then we need to grow at the pace of the armed forces defense budgets, also in conformity with what is actual on ground. You can't say we have the same 2% in 2019 and you have the same 2% in 2024 and manage an adversary which actually didn't exist until 2020 in that model. That's the issue. It's not a question of pension. It's not a question of Agnipath. It's the whole book that has to be rewritten. Blank paper, thought leaders, rewrite the book as General Bhatia and General Shekatkar committee thought about every facet of it. Let's get down to it, because when General Bhatia and General Shekatkar did the whole exercise, China, we were basking in the glory of 6 treaties and whole lot of 14 interaction of the principals and the foreign ministers meeting often and 25 meetings of WMCC. There was some warmth in the relationship with China. All that has been jettisoned in last 4 years. So now we need to rethink the whole the capsule of what we need to do.
We need to rethink the whole capsule of what we need to do. Rewrite the book, Aditya, as General Sharma so aptly put it. The fact that the Agnipath scheme was needed, it was the need of the hour. Divergent views coming out from General Bhatia and General Sharma, but they both agree on one thing, that the fact is that the timing of the scheme came at a time when our 4,000-kilometer northern frontier suddenly opened up. You were there recently at Ladakh, and it's possibly something that the government will be doing very soon, relooking at the Agnipath scheme and the Agniveers soldiers, the weekend warriors, the tour of duty soldiers. That whole scheme needs to be relooked at. That's one thing that our experts can agree on. But thank you very much for joining us, General Bhatia, General Sharma, and of course, Aditya Raj Kaul. We'll be tracking this story very closely.